Knows Best.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Hi, how are you guys? Happy Monday. Hi, friends. Happy Monday. Thank you so much for being here. Let's just get into the stories. I do have 2 write-ins that I'm going to do first, and they're actually kind of like advice column-esque, but they're interesting scenarios that we haven't really talked about here. One involving a mother-in-law and another involving erectile dysfunction, which is kind of crazy, but we'll get into it. Let's start with number 1. Hi, I am throwing my husband a surprise birthday party. It's going to be about $80 per person, and I'm an adult, so I'm obviously paying for it. I'm not going to send out Venmo requests to guests like a child. That's so funny to like come in so hot like that. But this is something I literally just saw a video on TikTok of people talking about Venmo culture. Wait, I said Venmo culture, which is like so interesting that that was even like a sentence or a phrase, Venmo culture. But I get it. And this girl was talking about how it's ruined relationships. And I think everything is individual. She said $80 per person. She's not going to ask people to pay for that. And like once you are older and you have the funds, I also would want to pay for things if I can. I mean, I also don't think it's a big problem to ask people to pay, but anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about this already. Let's just keep going. Anyway, I invited my immediate family, his immediate family, and his closest friends. His mom, who drives me insane and is why I need neutral advice, asked me to invite some of his extended family, aunt, uncles, cousins. I don't think I read that as a complete sentence. His mom, who drives me insane and is why I need neutral advice, asked me to invite some of his extended family. I didn't invite them because I'm trying to keep the bill under $2,000. We see these people for holidays and some random events throughout the year, but my husband doesn't hang out with them unless it's organized by his mother. His mom said she would pay for their costs to attend the party. Because I have issues with her, I can't tell if this is a reasonable request or if it's weird and annoying since I'm the one planning and paying for the party. Help. Do I just play nice and invite them, or is she overstepping? And then she has at the bottom, for context, my mother-in-law was totally great until we got married. The last few years, we have been working on setting boundaries with his parents. Here is the thing, and basically, if I didn't read that like a normal person, she is throwing a party for her husband. $80 per person, which she's paying. She invited her immediate family, his immediate family, and his closest friends. And then his mom said, hey, I'll actually pay the $80 if we invite extended family, but you're the one throwing the party. My honest feedback is it's totally up to you. I would say, oh, that's hard because my immediate response is like, it's you throwing the party, you invite who you want, but it's uncomfortable because it'd be one thing if the mom came to you and said, invite extended family, but you're the one who has to pay for it, but she's offering, but that still doesn't make it okay for her to just invite whoever she wants. I don't know how you go about doing this, but I would put my foot down and say, no. I'm the one throwing this party. Mom, if you want to throw a party for him and have it for the whole entire family, pop the fuck off. But this is my party, and extended family. This is like what happens with weddings when girls try and have weddings or couples have weddings and then their family chimes in. Their parents are like, well, you have to invite this person, this person, this person. It's like, whose wedding is it? Ours or yours? I don't believe in that. And this is kind of the same vibe. I don't care if she's offering to pay. Similar to when parents pay for the wedding. I don't give a shit. It's not their day. But it is super awkward because it's like you're just saying no when she offered to pay, which like it shouldn't be. Those aren't close people to you, and you just want it to be like close, intimate, and like immediate family and friends that your husband enjoys. It's not a family reunion. I would honestly, like, if that were me, I was throwing Carter a birthday party. I invited his parents, my parents, and our closest friends. And his mom came to me and said, let's invite. I would say no. I actually would say no. I'd be like, no, he doesn't want those people there. He loves his family. Yes, he sees them on the holidays and this, that, and the other. But like, these aren't the closest people to him. Similar to me. Like if Carter were throwing me a party and my mom came and said extended family, no. I only want to see the people that I'm close to, and that is that. It's hard because it's also a surprise, and therefore you can't be like, he doesn't want them there, but you got to figure out, and maybe it sounds like you actually are pretty like strong, and you will be able to just like turn her down maybe gently. She might throw a fit, but that's just something you're going to have to deal with. I think your husband will side with you that he wouldn't want them there either. I guess you know your husband. I do not know that man. However, I would say no. And it is crossing the line. It's not that big of a deal. I'm sure she just wants it to be like family. Woo! But like, I don't understand how people don't see extended family for what it is. Some people are really close with their extended family, but then you would see them more than the holidays and like they would be on the invitation, right? A lot of people, I feel like the majority of people are not close with extended family. And it's just weird to me when parents, or I think I've mentioned this before, I knew a person and she was getting married and her grandmother, who had a fuck ton of money, said that she will take her out of the will if she doesn't make her cousins bridesmaids. And it's just so fucking odd to me that grandma, it's like, take one look and like, you don't even, it's none of your fucking business. The cousins are not close. In this instance, they were not close. And it's so odd to me that like parents or grandparents care so much, or like, I understand wanting your family to get along. I get that. I really do. But also, if it's not happening, it's not happening. I also know parents who like try and force their kids to be best friends when like they just have nothing in common and are not best friends. It's like, I get it. That sucks. If every parent on this universe could have their kids get along, they would. But if they don't, why are you forcing? I just like don't get it. And I realize I'm a product of my parents being so hands off in my family. They just like let us live. But I think it's the best way to be. I don't understand trying to force people to have a relationship. Like even if you're siblings, like if it's not happening, it's not happening. But this mom, like, if the mom is close to you guys, she has to know that like your husband doesn't see these people outside of like the holidays when everybody gets together at grandma and grandpa's house, right? I just don't understand it. My final thoughts are, I would tell her, no, I'm so sorry. I just want it to be like all of the people that are close to my husband, Carter, and that is it. We can do a get together at another date. I feel like you are being totally in line, and it's normal for you to think that that's weird and annoying, because it is weird and annoying. And if somebody's planning a party, let them plan the party. Like, for example, I'm going to a party this weekend for nanny dad. I'm not sitting here to nanny mom saying she should do this, that, and the other. She's the one planning the party. Even if I did have an opinion, even if I did have a thought in my head or thought somebody should be invited, I'm not planning the party. That is overstepping. In any scenario, do not, unless somebody is coming to you, unless this is your very best friend and she's like, I'm throwing a party, who should I invite? Okay, you speak up. She is allowing you to speak. But unless somebody says that, don't just, oh, I really want this person to come, or I want you to invite this person, or I want this. You know what's really interesting? I had a birthday party one year. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. And at the time I was closest with people from my workplace at my real estate job, and I invited like a handful of people, some that I was close with, some that just were good people that I wasn't super close with. But I remember somebody brought somebody else that like I didn't really know, and I'm like, it did not matter to me at all, like totally fine, because it was like a good bit of us. But I'm like, why did you even want to come? Like, you don't know me. And I don't know. it was a little odd. I think like when it comes to parties and getting invited, like just do as the person says. And if you don't want to go because you're scared of going solo or you won't know anybody, then just don't go. But you don't bring somebody, or you don't say, hey, can you invite this person too? They already sent out the invites. They already did the thing. That is that. Okay, those are my thoughts. This next one. Hi, hello. Okay, so after last week's podcast, there was one story about a woman whose husband had never made her orgasm, and it made me think of my situation, so I wanted to write in. This is the second write-in, obviously. Okay, hello. I am a 26-year-old female who's been seeing her boyfriend for 4 years. Him and I have known each other since high school and even dated back then as well. I say that just to show you how long we've known each other and have been in each other's lives. Because of this and how long we've been together, we are obviously extremely comfortable with one another and tell each other everything. When we first started dating, he lived in a different state, so we were long distance for a bit. Once he finally moved to where I was, we began living together and things were great until we tried to have sex. The first time, things were fine, no issues at all, but after that was when the problems started. He started having a difficult time getting hard, and it was extremely upsetting for him. Oh, shit. He explained to me that this has happened to him before, and not to worry because it was probably just nerves and performance stress that was getting to him. Flash forward to 4 years later, and I can confirm that it is still happening. At this point, we have pretty much confirmed that there's an actual problem, and he went to the doctors one time to see what was going on, but then nothing else after that. He said that they gave him a medication, but I never saw it, and he's never taken it. I feel really horrible because he's cried to me numerous times about this, and he's really embarrassed and feels like shit because he wants to be able to have sex with me, obviously, but he can't. Well, I'm going to go out on a limb here. If he wants to have sex with you, he would then go to the doctor more than one time and get this figured out. Here is the reality of this situation. I haven't specifically dealt with it other than like, you know, when somebody's too drunk to like get hard, but like an actual issue with getting hard and whatever. It's like any other issue. You need to go to the doctor and figure that out. And here is what's hard is men are so easily emasculated. They take this shit to the 100th degree. Like I've said, we've all been in a scenario where like either you had too much to drink or something's going on and they can't, and it's awkward. But men, like, I feel like women are so much more resilient. And like, for example, when which like, I don't know, not wet or like whatever, there's lube and things I guess that are easy to make up for that. But like, I feel, well, that's not true. When I was younger, I feel like I was more insecure and maybe would like be embarrassed by something. I can't even think of a specific thing, but I feel like men take it so personally and like they feel as though they are not a man or like whatever that feeling is. And maybe some like handle it like a champ, but I feel like most men can kind of become little bitches. And I don't want to like talk down on them because this is a real issue, and I can imagine how horrible and embarrassing and awkward that can be for them. But here's the thing, you've been with him for 4 years. If he wants to have sex with you, he would go to the doctor. And I get that that's probably uncomfortable. I get how awkward to talk to a doctor about the fact that you can't get hard, but like it's also such a normal thing. Like there are so many men that have these issues, whether it's from a different health concern or what have you. Like I'm sure there are so many reasons why this happens. I get it. But you have to be man enough. Like, here's the thing. It might make you feel like less than a man, but like a man would go and get that figured out. A man would go to the doctor and like take the medication or do whatever the doctor says to figure that out, to have sex with their partner, right? Like, I don't know how you can sit there and cry, but then not do anything about it. It's kind of giving that story back in the day when the girl was dating the guy with the mental health issues and he's like, oh, my, invisible invisible illness, but he won't go to the doctor. I'm sorry. I have a really hard time feeling bad for people with issues that like don't try and solve them, that don't just go to the doctor, because this is really a common thing. I think, I don't know how many men deal with erectile dysfunction. I believe that's what it's called, but I think a lot of men do. And you just like go to the doctor and figure out what's going on. And honestly, that would lead me to think that there's something else health related going on, and you might just want to get that checked out regardless. But for you to say that he feels bad and he really wants to have sex with me, but he can't. I get that. And that's real. Like in the first few months of dating, maybe you want to try and do a home remedy, but it's been 4 years now and nothing has changed and he won't go to the doctor. I don't know. Like at some point it's like, okay, you don't care that much. You're letting your like embarrassment or whatever that feeling is override like, number one, your health and wanting to figure this out, but also like having sex with your girlfriend, which is an important part of dating. Okay. I'm just saying it's really important in a relationship. Okay, let's keep going. He's a good guy and cares about pleasuring me, so he has offered to do other things, but it gets to a point where after we try and it doesn't work, it kind of gets awkward. I try not to let my feelings get in the way because I can't imagine how he feels and what he's going through, but I'm also frustrated because I feel like he's not taking it seriously and hasn't made it a priority to do what he can to try and help the situation. Like if he really did get prescribed a medication, then where is it and why hasn't he taken it? Exactly. Okay, the homegirl's in the same boat. Yeah, there are other things you can do to like pleasure a woman, totally, but it's like you want to have sex with your partner, and that awkward feeling, like I have been through that before with like guys who have drank too much, and like that's that situation. I can't imagine doing that again and again and again and him being awkward, and it just makes everything awkward, and then you feel like you can't speak. But I understand her. Like I get that it would not be easy to have these conversations due to like how he reacts to it, but at the end of the day, like you need to have conversations, which we'll get into. I'll finish this and then I'll give my final thoughts. We've considered over-the-counter things, but he has a heart issue, so he's unable to take a lot of the things over the counter due to that. I love him and want to stay with him, hence why I've just accepted this issue for 4 years, but I don't know where to go from here. Sex is an important thing for me in a relationship, and even though I'm not an extremely horny person who needs sex all the time, when I do want it, I'm not getting it, and I feel like it's draining my love tank. LOL. Any advice is appreciated because I don't know what the hell to do, and my friends just seem to think that he doesn't actually have an issue and that he's just secretly gay and lying to me. What would you do in this situation if everything else is in the relationship perfect? Bitch, sorry, that was my fault. What would you do in this situation if everything else in the relationship is perfect except for this? Help. I would just have conversations. I understand it's going to be awkward, but like you just really have to reiterate and say like, I love you so much. This relationship is amazing. I don't care that like, I don't see it as less than or something being wrong with you that you can't get it up, but like, we have been dealing with this for 4 years, and to have a healthy relationship in the future, we need to have sex, and like it's important. And when I want to have sex, I want to be able to have sex. And here's the thing, if it's like a medication or even if it's Viagra, which I don't really know what those things are like, and obviously with this heart issue, I get that, oh, that's probably what you're talking about, over the counter. Well, he can get something medically prescribed. And like, again, if you're not even an extremely horny person, as you said, you won't even have to take it all the time. Maybe it's a medication that he takes to regularly, it's probably to balance his hormones or something. I have no fucking clue. I'm not a doctor, but here's the thing, you just have to sit him down and say, I love you, but like sex is important. And you are also claiming that you want to be able to have sex, but like we're still here and you won't go to the doctor. Like I would offer going with him or like setting up the appointment or like asking him what it is. Maybe first like getting to the bottom of why he won't go. And I don't mean to be like, if you love me, you'll do this, because like I don't think that's good. That's like kind of toxic as fuck. But like I think that is kind of the angle. Be like, you've said that you want to be able to have sex. You say that this is important, but like you haven't done anything about it. And I think just a simple doctor's appointment or a few, I don't know what that looks like, would help me and would help you. And also, I would go so far as saying, like, there might be underlying, he obviously has heart issues, like other medical issues or health issues that is causing this, and like for his health in general, just figuring out what it is it like a testosterone issue, is it a this issue? Because also, if you want to have kids in the future, which maybe you don't, but if you do, this is going to have to get figured out sooner than later. And if there is a health issue, you want to get that snipped in the butt now, that way he can take the medications and do the things. If you don't want kids, okay, that's fine, but like I still stand behind like his health. I feel like something has to be going on if he can't get hard or stay hard. And it also just comes down to you saying like, I love you, and like, I've been with you for 4 years dealing with this, not dealing with it, you don't want to make him feel bad about it, but like, I'm clearly in this relationship with you, but I really would like to have sex with you. And if you do love me, sorry, I'm like hiccuping. If you do love me and care for me and want to have sex, like, why won't you go to the doctor? I feel like, what's the root cause? Like, is it just embarrassment, which is plenty enough of a reason, I think, for men not to go to the doctor. That's like, a lot of people are embarrassed or scared or feel ashamed. I don't know, whatever that is for him. Like, why don't you want to go? And like, what can I do to help you? Can I set up the appointment? Can I go with you? Can I, whatever that is, because I think he's going to need a little push. You know what I'm saying? Because also the fact that he said he got a medication, but you never saw it and he never took it, makes me think that maybe he didn't actually go to the doctor in the first place. Because if he went once, like, I don't understand. And wouldn't he get the medication and take it and then need a prescription? He might have lied, which is like not fine, but I think, again, it's like embarrassment and shame that he is feeling. But I would just like have these conversations with him. And I don't think you're going to have one conversation and he's going to immediately go. But I think that you also just mention like how it makes you feel like every time we try and have sex. And I get it's not your fault. Like, this is not it's a you issue. It's like a deeper you issue, but it's not a you issue. Like, I don't view you differently. But every time, this is what happens. We try and have sex. We go through this awkward thing. We can have sex. It's awkward. You feel like shit. We repeat the cycle again and again and again. And it's just like uncomfortable. And why would we keep doing this again and again and again when you could like go to a doctor and try and figure it out? Right? Like, I don't understand. I am with Carter and we've been with each other for 2 years. And if this was us, like, he would just go and figure out what the fuck is going on and take the medication or do the thing. And like, I just feel he would want to do that. Now, I understand a lot of men, again, they feel emasculated. It's embarrassing. I can't even begin to understand. And that's why it's such a delicate conversation and why you need to tread lightly, as you're saying. And I think you've just had a hard time bringing it up because I imagine he's going to cry or get insecure or whatever. But I think if you always, it's kind of like a compliment sandwich. You say, I love you so much. Our 4 years has been amazing. I wouldn't want to be with anybody else. Everything is wonderful, but why don't we get this checked out? Like, this is the one area where we kind of not struggle, because you do take care of me in other ways and whatever, but like, don't you want to figure out what's going on? Like, let's go to the doctor. That way we can have sex. Hello, are we gonna live the rest of our lives without having sex and you feeling like this for the rest of your life? Because he has to go around feeling kind of like shit. And I don't think that he should. And I'm not saying that he should feel that way, but he probably does. Because like, if you, let's say, try and have sex, even if it's once every couple of weeks, right? Or once every other week, like, you go through that. I'm sure it kind of lingers. I'm sure he feels like shit. It's probably something he thinks about a lot. Why would you choose to live like that? Right? Like, let's just get this figured out. I don't know. Those are my thoughts. I think you just come from a place of love. You explain how you feel and how you just want him to feel good. And imagine, like, if he does go to the doctor and does get a medication and then everything's fine and he can get hard and you guys can have sex, how great that's going to feel. Wouldn't he want to have that? Like, his want to please you and make you feel loved and like want to have sex with you has got to be higher or more than the scaredness of like going to the doctor, or the embarrassment, or whatever that feeling is of why he won't go to the doctor. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I think also saying that, like, oh my gosh, can you imagine like when we can finally have sex and it's great and it's fine and you say hard and so on and so forth? That's going to be amazing. I think also saying that like maybe will excite him and say, oh my God, let's fucking go to the doctor right now and get this taken care of. That way we can have sex. And those are my thoughts. Thank you so much, both of you, for the questions, and especially the second one, because that's super vulnerable, but I think can be super helpful, because I think there are a lot of people out there who have men that deal with this kind of thing, and it's not talked about enough. And I think a man is not going to talk to another man about it, but like, you are his girlfriend of 4 years, he should be able to talk to you about it and not feel embarrassed, and like, you know that it's not his fault, it's not up to him, it's something within his body, like he can't control that, obviously, and so it's nothing to be ashamed of. And I understand why he would feel ashamed, but to any other girls out there that deal with something like this, or something that like your boyfriend doesn't want to talk about because he's ashamed or embarrassed, like, we have to get over that. And I think this also will, you know, get you to the next level in your relationship, because for example, like Carter and I, there is nothing off limits. There is literally nothing off limits. And I think having anything that's kind of a gray area, whether that's, you know, a job or finances or his relationship with his mom or like erectile dysfunction, whatever the thing is, when you have areas where like it's awkward to talk about, or you guys don't talk about it because it brings up a fight or he gets insecure, whatever, I think having anything like that in your relationship is just not good. So the more you talk about it and then get something figured out like that and get to a place where it's comfortable and like it's not a big deal, I think will be amazing for your relationship and so worth it. You just have to push through the awkwardness, and as long as you are like acting as a kind, loving girlfriend, I know your fear right now is like making him feel bad, but like you have to get over that. It's not your fault. He's already feeling those things every time you guys try and have sex. So like you bringing up shouldn't, or like isn't your fault. It's like, you know, similar to when somebody cheats. Oh my gosh, I made a TikTok on this the other day. I'm like, if you're a girl and you know of a man cheating, girls will often not tell the other girl, and it's like, you have to. But I feel like we think that it's our fault, like, oh, they're gonna get a divorce because I'm telling her. No, it's the man who did the thing. That's the reason. So I feel like girls, we oftentimes don't want to bring things up to our partner because you know it's gonna make him like uncomfortable or insecure. It's gonna bring up this weird feeling, but it's like, you have to push through that. That's not your fault. These conversations need to be had to get to the other side and to figure it out. You know what I mean? Okay, let's move on. Next. Okay. Am I the asshole for stopping my boyfriend's proposal at our best friend's wedding? I, 26 female, and my boyfriend, 25 male, attended a mutual friend's wedding. They're very close friends to us and brought my boyfriend and I together. My boyfriend and I are coming up on our 3-year anniversary, and things were getting pretty serious. Enough so that I very much wanted to marry him. He's sweet, chatty, typically considerate, and empathetic. He's the person who I thought was the first to show me what a truly healthy and compassionate relationship was like. He's very serious about us too. We've had long talks about marriage, and it seemed we were in agreement with no formal declaration. We had even gotten as far as looking at rings. So the chance of a proposal was more of a when, not if. A few weeks before the wedding, us and the engaged couple at the time were hanging out. The topic of weddings was very prevalent, and my boyfriend had cracked a joke about proposing at our friend's wedding. The to-be groom joked back and said, "That'd be funny as hell." This was followed by me and the to-be bride both shutting it down, trying to be serious, but also not thinking he was serious. He was. During the reception, everyone had made their speeches and people were getting their food. While our table was waiting, my boyfriend went up to the DJ, and after they played my boyfriend and I's favorite song to scream sing in the car together, "Story of My Life" by One Direction. I look at him smiling and he's looking around. All of a sudden, he grabs a fork, stands up, and begins clanging on a glass. Immediately, the whole dining room looks over. I stand up and whisper the words, "Not right now." His face drops and he yells a mix of, "I'm sorry, I was just joking." And after he sat back down, I verbatim said, "Let them have their moment. Let's make this our own." He wouldn't even look at me. When it was time to get our food, he immediately goes towards the exit. I follow and tried to catch up to him, but couldn't find him. I text him twice and call him a couple of times, but got no answer. So I went back to the reception. After not hearing from him for about an hour and a half or so, he returns, sits down, and doesn't even look at me. The rest of the night was terrible. He looked like his dog just died, and I'm trying to make the best out of the night, but felt like I was just in his shadow. I was prepping for a breakdown or maybe a fight in the car, but the only thing he said was, "I don't want to talk about it right now." And the drive was just quiet and awkward. He sent me a long text about how hard it was to get the ring, how he felt rejected by his closest person, and that I embarrassed him. I tried to explain that it's not that I didn't want to marry him. It was our best friend's wedding and they deserve their moment. I also said that we should create our own and not piggyback off of theirs. He got offended and said if I wanted to marry him, I wouldn't have stopped his proposal in front of everybody. This situation perplexes me. I've never seen the appeal of proposing at someone else's wedding and tried to handle the situation in a way that I felt was calm and chill. But he's very adamant that I ruined the proposal, made him look like an asshole, and thus I'm the asshole. Am I missing something? Should I admit I was wrong and have just let his proposal go at our friend's wedding? No! What the fuck? How do some men not have a singular clue what is okay and what is not? And if you guys have talked about marriage, talk about the engagement. I understand not wanting to know, but there are so many things you can talk about without having still any idea when it's going to happen. The fact that he thought it was okay to propose at his best friend's or your best friend's wedding is insane, but I can understand men can be ignorant. They don't know like that's not okay. They think, oh, it's a wedding. Like they don't really get it. I will let that slide. But like if y'all have talked about marriage, I think it should have been explicitly said that you don't want a proposal at somebody's, not explicitly, because who the fuck should have to be told that they don't want to get proposed to at somebody's wedding? But like I think that if you said you want it to be like special and just you guys, then maybe like I feel more conversations need to be had. But also the fact that he's sulking, which like to a woman, it is so painfully obvious that like he shouldn't have done that and he's in the wrong, but he clearly had no idea or he wouldn't have done it. And like he's just hurt and all he can think about is that you rejected him, when it has nothing to do with like you not wanting to marry him. It has everything to do with the fact that you guys were at your friend's wedding. I'm sorry, what the fuck? I think you need to sit down and have a big boy conversation with him and say, hey babe, we've talked about marriage. I do want to marry you, or I did, but like engaging or proposing at somebody's wedding, no matter who who they are, is not appropriate in general. That is terrible etiquette. And you were really, number one, you don't want to get proposed to there, but just tell him that you were trying to spare the bride. Be like, she would have been pissed. Can you imagine if we're getting married and somebody steals the shine by proposing at a wedding. I've obviously never seen this done in real life, but like I've heard of this happening, and that's crazy. Like I get it. And like me, if I had a wedding and you know my closest friend got engaged, like I really don't think it would bother me. But like also you're talking to the bitch who doesn't even want a wedding. I don't give a shit. But like no matter who the person is, like even if they said it was okay, it's weird and it's tacky, and you don't do that. And it has nothing to do with not wanting to marry him, and everything to do with the fact that you don't want to get proposed to at somebody else's wedding. And I would think twice about marrying a man who sulks like this. He texted you. Also, why are you guys in a 3-year long relationship and you guys are texting about very serious conversations? This is something we all need to snip in the butt right now. You need to speak to your partner. You don't text about serious conversations. He literally said, wait, let me pull this up. He texted on how hard it was to get the ring, how he felt rejected by his closest person, and that you embarrassed him. That was in a text. How are we 25 and 26-year-olds texting about this kind of thing? No, you have a conversation. That right there tells me that this relationship is a little bit immature. I'm sorry if you're out there and you're in your mid to late 20s and you're texting about anything that should be a conversation, which is like most things. No. I would very much reconsider marrying this man, just like with the how he's reacting to it and how like he's trying to turn you into the asshole. Like regardless, like just I think whatever he wants to feel, you both should just, you know, clap your hands together and say, let's move on. I think you just explained that like that was horrible etiquette. And that's it. It has nothing to do with not wanting to marry him. But like, you're going to marry a man that thought it was okay to propose at a wedding? I get it that some people don't know and like some men are clueless, but that's fucking crazy. Okay, next. This next one is crazy. Okay. Am I the asshole for wanting nothing to do with the child my brother is having with my ex and refusing to acknowledge them naming their kid after me? I, 20 male, dated my now ex-best friend, Alia, 20 female, from age 13 to 17. Oh God. Okay, this is really gonna be something. We'd been best friends since pre-K and I adored her. I thought we'd get married as adults and have a family. But then I found out she was cheating on me with my brother. No. 19 male is his brother currently. My relationship with both of them was over when I found out, and it was messy for months. Alia wanted me back. I keep saying Alia. It's Alia. I don't know. Obviously, that's probably not her real name. Okay, let's just call her Allison. Allison wanted me back. She told me she made a mistake and we were meant to be together. My brother wanted to see if it was a mistake at first, but then he wanted Allison and he told me he fell in love with her and wanted me to accept it and support them being together. Then Allison wanted my brother. What the fuck are we talking about? This is the most childish, weird, fucked up situation I've ever seen. So before I moved out, they were together and dating. I avoided them like the plague, and anytime they tried talking to me, I told them to get the fuck away from me and treated them like a disease. I'm so sorry. Number one, you guys dated from 13 to 17. I know when you're 20 years old, you think that's like legitimate, but now as like a 27-year-old, almost 28-year-old, when this episode comes out, I'm gonna be 28 years old. Holy fuck, my birthday was on Friday. Anywho, as a 28-year-old in a few days, you look back on your middle school and high school relationships and I say, what the fuck was that? Which is why, and you guys know this, and I really have to stop hating on high school sweethearts because sometimes they are amazing and sometimes that's wonderful and you grow together and it's no problem. But like, because I'm 28 and I now look back and I'm like, what the fuck was that? That was not a real relationship. I was was a child. It's so hard because this is what happens. High school sweethearts just kind of stay in their little bubble and like work it out together. And I feel like you just don't evolve as much. Like if you are still, you have to compromise way more in a relationship like that and like mold yourself to that person. Therefore, I don't think you're really you. I think you're a version of you that you had to be with your partner from fucking high school. Anywho, and this is why when I hear people, they're like, oh yeah, we dated in high school. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I get when you're young and when you then go to college, like that's still the only relationship you've ever had. But it's like, oh my gosh, now 10 years later, it's like, I can't even remember that person. Like that was insane. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyways, a couple of times my brother and I almost came to blows because he started getting angry that I wasn't willing to forgive them. He accused me of trying to break them up. One time I got really close after a fight because I hoped the two of them were miserable and fucked everything that moved until they destroyed whatever love they thought they had. Wait, what the fuck are we talking about? He didn't like me saying it, but I meant it. This is like I would go ahead as far to say that this family probably is kind of a little bit chaotic. And I feel like they weren't really raised with probably a good relationship their mom and dad had. What the fuck, Brenna? Can you form a complete sentence? Like I'm imagining it was a home of chaos because like this is crazy, which I get they're 20 years old. They're young, but even still like all of this. One time I got really close to the fight and I hoped that the two of them were miserable and fucked everything that moved until he destroyed whatever love they like. That's such like little kid like, oh, you know what I mean? Like that's very immature and like what the fuck are we talking about? But anyways, when I moved out, I refused to see my brother after that. My parents understood but told me that they hoped in the future we could be in the same room. Some family invites the two of us to stuff and I skip it to avoid them. Other families invite only me. It caused some tension. I told those people in my family that if they want to invite my brother to keep the drama down, I'd see them other times. But I have some really loyal family. Yeah, this sounds like some, I don't know, messy family situation. Like what the fuck are we? This is some redneck bullshit. There was some tension several months ago when my brother and Allison were in an accident. I didn't go to the hospital and I only called to see how my parents were doing. I didn't care about my brother or Allison at all. It rubbed some people the wrong way. It upset Allison really badly too, and my brother started talking shit about me to some of our family. And then after a while, he tried to get a cousin who speaks to us both to mediate for us. And I told my cousin he didn't need to because I still wanted nothing to do with my brother. This is the most redneck bullshit I've ever read in my life. Now that I said redneck, that's exactly what this is. My brother and Allison now are having a baby. And apparently once they found out they were having a boy, they decided to name him after me. This was used to try and bring me back into the fold. I have some family telling me I need to be in my nephew's life and I better fix things between the three of us before he's born. But I don't want a relationship with their kid, and them naming him after me changes nothing for me. He said that his brother is 19 currently. So you dated a girl from 13 to 17. She was cheating on you with your brother when you were 17. So she was probably 17 or 16, and then they got together and now they're pregnant at 19. Yeah, this is some redneck horseshit happening. What the fuck are we talking about? I cannot believe that this is some people's lives, and this is like shame on parents. Like I don't want to like ruin my kids' lives, but when they're in high school and get into a relationship, like I'm just gonna be supportive, but I'm also going to tell them that it's fake as fuck. I'm gonna tell my kids that you are not marrying your high school sweetheart. If you guys can stay together until 25, perfect. Go ahead and get married then, but you are not doing any stupid bullshit at the age of 18, 19 years old. Like, no. And and shame on parents. And I know that might be like overstepping, and I shame people a lot, but it's like, please, what are we talking about? Yeah, no, 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 no. It's getting me some shit from family members who say I should be over it by now, and my only brother should be more important than some teenage cheating. I was told by some people on my side and others on the side of forgiveness that my brother and Allison's relationship gets more strained the longer I refuse to have anything to do with them. Their relationship should have nothing to do with the brother's relationship. Like, it's already fucked. We already know what kind of situation this is. They should not be pregnant. This should not, like, this is the most fucking weird bullshit I've ever heard. The family on my side tells me as a heads up for dramatic relatives. The people on the side of forgiveness tell me to shame me for potentially putting the baby through a broken family from day one. What the fuck are we talking about? They said I wished ill on the relationship and now a baby is involved, so I shouldn't want everyone miserable and I should want a relationship with the child. They say it's disgusting. I'm not willing to put the past behind us so I can be an uncle. Number one, a broken family. It's like an uncle. Like, what are we talking about? I have uncles that I haven't seen in years. That's not affecting my life. Like, if those two care about their baby, they should just look inward and focus on their relationship and have the child. Like, I don't know why it would have such a big impact. And this is why, like, it seems like the people who have no guidance from their family, also those family members are the most involved in their lives. It's like, how are you going to fiddle your little fingers? Like, you have family members telling you this, that, and the other, but they couldn't recommend to you when you were 18 years old that this is fucking bad news bears. Like, I don't really understand. This is actually crazy. Not the asshole. You're absolutely not the asshole here. Your boundaries aren't just valid, they're damn necessary for your sanity. Yeah, no, I fully support you cutting off your family member, because what the fuck? I don't care if it's your brother. And like, they're saying that you're holding on to teenage cheating. Those two started dating as teenagers. Like, what do we think happens when you're a teen to 20? 20 is not that different from 19 years old. Like, you think they're an adult. I just, like, you guys know my opinion. I don't think anybody should be getting married or having children before at least the age of 25. Like, there's no benefit of that, really. And like, I get it if you're hyper religious and you want to have a million kids, whatever, pop the fuck off. But like, for regular people, just anybody, like, I would even suggest to, you know, Catholics or Mormons or what have you, religious people, wait. And especially with technology, even if you want a million kids, you can start at 26, have one every year until 35. You can have 10 kids. I'm not kidding. Like, everything's so much better than it was. It's not as dangerous anymore to have kids well into your 30s. I know people who have had kids at 40. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind. What the fuck are we talking about? This is like the most weird, like, redneck, I like keep saying redneck bullshit I've ever heard. No, cut them off. What the fuck? I don't think, like, at some point you'll get over like the whole cheating thing, but like, this whole thing is just drama and immature and weird, and like, keep those people out of your life. And you're not doing things in the wrong, and you're not the one breaking up their family. Like, a broken family is like divorced parents or parents that are not together, not your uncle not being around, not your dad and my dad and his brother don't have a relationship. That didn't affect my life at all. What the fuck are you talking about? These people are just like, also probably, and this is what happens, families like this, they were like that, so like, they all just are used to this chaos and this stupid bullshit and the immaturity and like, you know, dating or like getting married and having a baby at 19 years old. That is no longer the way. Like, why are we encouraging that? Not saying anybody was encouraging that, but like, please, if you think that the brother is in the wrong, the one who's just like trying to keep out of his brother who played a part in the cheating of his own relationship is now dating his ex, is not fucking weird, and they're not the problematic ones. They are cuckoo for fucking Cocoa Puffs, and you keep it moving. Okay, next. Next. Okay, last but certainly not least, and we have a little monster on my lap. If you aren't watching, Maid Dog decided to join for this last story because she was getting a little ornery. It's storming out. It's been so stormy in Dallas, and obviously dogs, like not all dogs, but get a little bit, fired up, a little bit scared, and therefore we're gonna cuddle. She was hiding in her bedroom for a really long time. But anyways, okay, Pumpkin, be good. Am I the asshole for leaving the weekend friend trip after being made to sleep on the couch? I, 29 female, and Josie, 30 female, have been friends since high school. We live apart, but still keep in very regular contact. I was invited to stay with her and her husband, Leo, 30 male, for a few days because their town was having a huge annual festival that we were all interested in attending. They had asked me to come early this year. Maybe a month or so before, they informed me they invited some college friends to stay for the weekend as well. I was excited for this because I have only met their college friends a handful of times and I know they are really close. The plan was for me to stay Thursday to Monday. I should also preface that when Josie and Leo bought their home, I stayed with them for a month while I was between jobs. This was many years ago now, but since then, it has been dubbed my room. It is obviously not actually mine, but I have stayed in it every single time I have visited them since. I drove 4 hours to their place on Thursday. When I arrived, their college friends were there already, and I was shocked to see it wasn't just them. Josie and Leo had invited their friend Shane and his fiance and their friend Sarah and her husband. I have met Shane and Sarah before, but not their partners. I was immediately irritated because it felt like a couple's get together already. I have a partner of nearly 3 years who I live with, Oliver, who Josie and Leo have met several times, and he was not invited on this trip. I tried to get over the awkwardness and exchange pleasantries until I went to go upstairs and put my bag away, and Josie and Leo stopped me and told me that Shane and his fiance were staying in that room. I was like, whoops, no problem, my bad, I should not have assumed, and asked if I was in the other smaller guest room. They said no. Sarah and her husband were in there. They told me then that they hoped I was okay with sleeping on the couch. Oh, fuck. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I'm the person who's like, okay, I was sleeping on the fucking couch. I don't give a shit. But I feel like that should have been disclosed earlier, and like, I guess wrong of her to assume, but you always stay there. You knew other people were coming, but like, I don't know, as 30-year-olds, like as we get older, like that's the thing. If my friends were coming to stay with me, we only have a couch, I would disclose that information. Like, yes, you are more than happy to stay here. We have an air mattress and a couch, but like that's what we have. So if you'd rather get a hotel or rather stay somewhere else, that's totally fine. But I feel like, yeah, that should have been said, especially since you've been going there time and time again and did get that room. Again, she shouldn't assume, but it's kind of like, okay, we're 30 years old. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of shitty on their part. And the couples thing is weird. Do they not like her partner? Why wouldn't he be invited? Unless it just kind of happened that way. Like she was invited and they wanted to go, but then the other people tagged along and brought their partners, and it just kind of happened to fall that way. But I feel like, again, it's not like, sometimes it's like we go back and like think about this, that, and the other, and it's like, no, we're adults, and like a simple text could have been sent like, hey, these people are bringing their partners, like, do you want to bring yours? It's not like there was no time. It's not like a formal invitation. This isn't a fucking wedding where she RSVP'd without a +1. Even then, that's still like, you can change that, maybe not right next to the wedding or like leading up to the wedding, but like these things are changeable. Sometimes we're like, oh well, when we planned, it's like, no, they could have sent a simple text and said, hey, your partner can come because these people are bringing their partners. But also, they had nowhere for her to stay, so then they would have had to get a hotel, but maybe she would have gotten a hotel with her partner. Oh my gosh, you guys, the lightning is so bad. All of the sun. Oh, did you hear that? The thunder? It's pouring right now. What the fuck? Anywho. Okay, let's keep going. I was trying really hard not to be too annoyed or cranky about this, but I had just driven 5 hours and was under the impression I was getting a bedroom for the weekend, mostly because we had this weekend planned for months and they had never mentioned otherwise. I would not have been opposed to a couch sleep for maybe one night, but there was no way I was going to sleep on the couch for the entire weekend, especially since we'd be drinking and partying pretty heavily. I asked them why they didn't tell me that plans had changed so I could get a hotel sooner, and they insisted they didn't think I'd have a problem sleeping on the couch. Apparently, Sarah and her husband were planning on getting a hotel, but waited too long and couldn't find an affordable one last minute. That's still their problem. Okay, yeah, your friends are in the fucking wrong. At this point, I was really irritated, both by the partner situation and the sleeping arrangements. I called Oliver and he was upset for me. We both looked for hotels in the area, but could not find anything affordable for the entire weekend. I told Oliver about the couples and he was annoyed to not be invited since he likes Josie and Leo a lot. Finally, after like an hour of back and forth, Oliver asked if I wanted to come home, and I honestly really did. I privately told Josie and Leo I was uncomfortable by the situation, wished everyone a good weekend, and drove back home. That's fucking hard because I get it. I wouldn't want to be there either. And that is true. Yeah, you're sleeping on the couch from Thursday to Monday and you're going to be out drinking and like that's no. Again, at our grown age, there are things that are normal and okay as like a 20-year-old and things that you're willing to put up with, not as a 30-year-old. I'm sorry. But I would be so conflicted about leaving. Like it just looks bad even though you're not in the wrong. Like you kind of get a bad rap because like you planned on coming, you drove the whole way and then you're going to leave. Like I understand from an outsider point of view, it's like what the fuck kind of, but it's also like not what the fuck. Like they fucked you. Okay, anywho. I got a call Saturday morning from Josie and she said she was really disappointed that I had acted so rashly and she wished that I had stayed. I told her that I didn't understand why she didn't update me on the sleeping situation as soon as she knew about it, and she told me the only reason I was booted to the couch is because Sarah and her husband both couldn't fit. So then I asked her why she didn't invite Oliver if she had invited the other couples, and she just said sorry, they hadn't thought about it. I told her that I was upset and hurt by the situation and I didn't regret leaving. I received another message from her last night saying everyone had left and she was really disappointed in me and that I had ruined her weekend because she was upset the entire time. You didn't ruin her weekend. She ruined her weekend. This is the thing. People always want to make you feel bad. She did that to herself. She ruined her own weekend. And to put that on you, I get it. She can be sad and disappointed, but like then you should have thought about it, or she could have offered to get you a hotel. Like if she really wanted you there, she know leading into it, like any adult, like again, no matter, I'm like super chill, but my friends would still be like, hey, this kind of happened. These couples are coming. Number one, invite fucking Carter because that's fucking weird to show up somewhere when there's 3 couples. You have a boyfriend of 3 years and he's just like not invited when he could have come. That's weird. And number 2, you're on the couch because these other no, this all could have been a conversation and it could have been avoided. And that's on her. Like she's upset. She's more upset with herself. And that is the thing. When people like react and get mad at you, oftentimes it's not at you, it's at themselves. Like, yes, she is sad you left because I bet she was really looking forward to the weekend together, but like that doesn't excuse her shitty behavior and like how that all played out. And also she's upset with herself and she's mad and then she's going to take it out on you because that's just like what we do as humans. We never want to look inward. And like maybe she's a good person. I'm not saying she's a bad person, but like it's just a natural reaction. No, knows she's in the wrong. She is sad that you're not there, but it's not your fault for leaving, is what I'm saying. Does that make sense? I am starting to feel bad and also FOMO from not being there. I had been really looking forward to the festival and hanging out with everyone. Anyway, am I the asshole for leaving? I don't think you are. And then she also has an edit though that I'm going to say now. As I am reading through the comments, I am untangling some of the feelings I was having. I am upset by being assigned to the couch, especially because it was last minute and I was not told beforehand. An entire weekend of partying with an uncomfortable sleeping arrangement and no privacy really sounded miserable. I'm not 22 anymore. Exactly. I think like once you get to an age, like, yeah, when you're young, you're like so okay with like fucking doing whatever for a good time. As you get older, no, we just like get better at creating boundaries and like becoming grandparents and like wanting to live comfortably. It's like that TikTok sound. I'm not supposed to live an uncomfortable life, or like I'm not meant to live an uncomfortable. It's true. And like I think we just get older and realize, and like we know the toll that like partying and these things take. And yeah, the no privacy, like we're just too old for that, because most of us can buy a hotel room. Like she could have in theory beforehand bought an hotel room and that would have been fine, but like that wasn't even now an option. But I do think I am more upset about Oliver's exclusion and just didn't piece it together, really held on to the couch as an excuse. It really did feel like it was made into a couples weekend, and somehow Oliver and I were excluded from that. I hated immediately feeling like the seventh wheel, which is totally fine. And then she says, edit 2, I did not know Shane and Sarah's partners were going to be there literally until I walked in and saw them. Yeah, well, that feels like shit. Well, that's fucking weird, because who wants to be, and like, even if you're single or have a partner, it's like weirder that she has a partner and it's not there. It almost feels like they didn't want him there, which could totally not be the case. And like, that's just making an assumption, but it's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, we're too old. And again, this isn't like some reservation that was made last year and cannot be changed. This is your friend's house. Y'all are going to a festival. All of these things could have been communicated prior and then figured out from there, like what you're okay with dealing with and not. Like she had this plan for months, and then like you invited these other people. Like if you're, I just don't understand also, if you keep up with this person, like if I'm catching up with my best friend Natalie every week, we're talking, she'd be like, oh, by the way, Sarah and her partner are coming, or Shane and his partner are coming. Okay, amazing. And then you would like in a natural conversation be like, okay, what's the sleeping arrangement? Like who's getting a hotel? And that would come up. So it also kind of feels like an omittance of information. Is that even a word? Like she omitted the fact that they were coming, which maybe they don't talk regularly, which I understand, but like you would think leading up to it. And even if you don't, you would mention that. Like if I had somebody coming, if I had Natalie coming to stay with me and that's been planned for forever, and then all of a sudden our couple's friends coming and this couple, number one, I would tell her to bring Oliver. And number two, I would like think to myself, oh, we're going to have this couple and that couple. And then here's Natalie or whatever this girl's name is. What's the sleeping arrangement? And should we run that past like the person who's going to end up on the couch? Like, no, you probably don't have to okay the bedrooms with the people. Although that was a conversation because two people need to know where they're fucking sleeping. So that was a conversation. Why would you not tell your friend? Yeah, you're not in the wrong at all. And like, it sucks. And you didn't want to leave. It's not like you were happy to fucking leave, but like, what were you to do? You were just going to be sour the whole trip. You're going to have no privacy. You're going to be so uncomfortable. Like it's not what you expected. The whole couples thing is weird. Like if I showed up somewhere without Carter when he's just like at home, like if I drove 5 hours away, let's say I went to Houston and 3 couples are there and like my partner is just at home when he very much could have come and you didn't know it was going to be like a couples thing. What the fuck are we talking about? Yeah, we're too grown to be acting like this. And your friend's just taking it out on you, unfortunately. Like she probably is sad you left. You guys were looking forward to this, but hopefully you guys can get past this and just say like, hey, just give me a heads up. Like I'm not mad any longer. Like I'm just, why was I not told, number one, that all these couples were coming, and number two, that I was going to be sleeping on the couch. That's all. Okay, you guys, those are my stories. Thank you guys so much for being here. Happy Monday. It's getting so dark outside. If you're watching, I'm sure like I'm lit up from my light and that's it. The clouds are spooky as fuck. I hope you guys have the best week ever. Thank you for being here. I love that you're here, and that's all I have. Okay, bye guys.